talk to me what your role in this composition is. Let's just start with that. Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Why are you playing monkey? What does your composition do?
I feel like my role is to distract the enemy team and try to make space for our backline to get in better positions, and eventually look for space control and dive on the backline.
Sure, exactly. Okay, so your job is to just get to the choke, try and dive, things like that. Now, right now, what part, like looking at your composition, like looking at your team, what space do you think matters to your team? Like, you're playing Ana and McCree and Zarya. Where do you think that they want to get to eventually? Like, where would they like to get to eventually to beat the enemy composition? Where do they want to go?
Security room, the space outside security room.
Sure. So in here, right? So they want to get in here, and they want to try and get out here, out in the open, where they can shoot and spam and pressure on points. So your job is to try and help them to get there, okay? Now, how you get there could be directly. It could be you're going to bubble on this rotation and protect them so they can rotate in here. It could be indirectly. It could be that there's like an Ana over here, and you could dive that Ana and force the enemy team to peel so that your team can rotate safely. And that's really kind of what you're doing as Monkey. You're either jumping high grounds and clearing high grounds, you're jumping threats and forcing attention, or you're just bubbling on the floor and letting your team rotate, almost like a Reinhardt. So you kind of have to look at the situation and decide what's important. Now, you need to look at their composition and tell me, what do you think is probably eventually going to be the best way for you to create space for your team? Look at their comp and look at your comp. What are the differences in your compositions?
We have a Kree and they have a Pharah, which means they have more spam, but we have more brawl in a way. I feel like if we can get close to their core, I think we can win the fight.
Right, exactly. So that should be your goal, to try and get close to the core. So what does that mean for you specifically, right? Like, let's say that this is, ranked scrims, whatever. What does that mean for your job as Monkey? What are you looking to do?
Try to divert attention from their divers. I don't know.
Sure. Like, your job, like, do you think that you're going to be playing more passive here, or probably a little bit more aggressive when you get space?
More aggressive, because they don't have a lot of stuns and damage.
Exactly. So if you just stand here AFK and play very, very passive and patient, then you have to at the start, but eventually when you get the opportunity, you do want to try and dive the Zarya. You want to dive the Monkey. There is no Brig. You want to force Mercy Pocket away from her Pharah onto another target so that they have less spam. Like you said, you have a brawlier, shorter range comp, so you need to close that distance, and you need to try and now. You don't have to go fast, but you do need to get on top of them. That's the goal, right?
Right.
Makes sense? Okay, so let's see what we do.
What I did at the start when I saw the Pharah was first to call the switch to D.Va, because I feel like
sure
it'll be it.
So you guys do swap D.Va then?
Yes.
Okay, great. Because that'll help you get through the rotation, and you can play very fast with D.Va. Okay, so you talked about like this being the space that you want to go in. So let's just see how this goes. Now my question here, here's my question. So you do clear out this space, but I'm curious here, like, let's go back to about right here. Is your team in a position to rotate right now?
No.
Right. Because that's why you're doing this, I assume, right? You're jumping this to allow your team to get into server like you told me to, or to just push through the choke. But
honestly, at this point, partially it was for scouting.
Okay.
But yes.
Now, what about now? Is your team in a position to rotate now?
Yes.
Okay. That's very important. Go ahead.
I chased this Tracer because she was super low, and I thought forcing the recall would be a good idea.
Sure. Like, again, like, your job here is to create space for your team. If you're able to pressure this Tracer and get her out, then guess what? That Tracer's not shooting your team while they're trying to rotate, so they can take space safely. You're doing your job. And as long as your team can rotate now, which maybe you're a little early, right? But it looks like they can, like, looks like they're going to try to, then you're doing your job, okay? Now, because this is a tournament, I'm going to have extra expectations for you. I almost want you to, like, write, like, you should be taking notes here or typing up notes. I almost want you to have a column of just general main tank stuff. And then because I'm specifically playing with a team that I can communicate with, there's going to be a couple of extra things here. For example, I talked about, well, I'm not going to talk about it, but like right now, do you see your backline? Are they really like hustling on the rotate? Not really, right? They're kind of slow, aren't they? You see that?
Yes.
Like you're going in, but they're not really pressing W. Your brick, in fact, is just sitting and waiting. Why?
Right.
I don't know why, right? You don't know why.
Right.
But
I don't know why.
But that's unacceptable. That can't happen, especially with a team that you guys scrim every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you guys scrim?
2 or 3 times a week.
Okay, so this is unacceptable for that amount of practice. This is a basic thing. So how do you, as a monkey that's playing with a team, help fix this? You can't tell your backline what to do, but what can you tell them so that they have the information they know they need to rotate?
I'm forcing the tracer out.
Yeah, you could say, I'm pressuring, I'm going in, right? And then they know that whether we are rotating left or we're going down main or we're clearing out right, you can let them decide what the right thing to do is. It's not your job to micro them, but you need to tell them, guys, I'm pressuring, I'm going. Now's your time to do something. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that gives them the information to, okay, we can go. And another thing you could do before that is you could even ask them, are you guys ready? You guys ready? Okay, and then you go for your pressure jump. Does that make sense? So again, maybe something that is not going to pay off in ranked as much because of the lack of coordination and communication, but there's just no excuse for this not to happen in a tournament. Okay. Now, normally, chat, you wouldn't jump a tracer, but this tracer's in a very short-range sightline, and she's kind of feeding, and getting her out of this does mean our team can rotate a lot safer. And right now, that's the safest thing that our monkey can jump without instantly dying. Okay, so now you just need to chill, wait for cooldowns. Now, this is where things get tricky. So, have you created space for your team? With that,
yes.
Yes. Your team went from here to here. That pharmacy is that you were able to clear out that tracer so that your McCree could focus the pharmacy and not worry about the tracer. And now the enemy team has backed off a little bit and your team is through the choke. So now you've got a real important decision here. Where should you go next?
We decide to go main.
Okay, you decide to go main. Great. Let's see how this goes. A lot of indecision here, right? What was this indecision? What was this indecision from?
So I think we were trying to stabilize for a bit after getting past the choke. And I was hesitant to jump their backline because I know I don't have a Zarya bubble. And
why do you need a Zarya bubble?
Because they have a brick. Well, they don't have a brick. They have an on it, right?
Right. Do you need Zarya bubble against just an on necessarily?
No.
Something to keep in mind, because there is a chance that if she's good, she'll sleep you, right? And I imagine that your diva is probably not going to be helping you much. She's probably going to be focusing on the pharmacy, right, or the tracer. But does that really matter all that much?
No,
not
because
really.
You're creating the pressure on the backline.
Right,
so.
You're creating pressure, and she's going to sleep you, and is she going to kill you?
No.
They could even have their Pharah come all the way back, direct rocket you, Zarya right click plus, and they're still not going to kill you. There's no CC. There's nothing there. There's no like actual burst damage. So you don't need to be scared here. You jump here, you bubble, you put a big bubble in their face, and you still get slept. Okay, unlucky, go next. You've completely blocked off Ana healing, you blocked off Zarya healing, you've baited their attention around, and that's space that your team needs.
Right.
So I don't know why you're scared here. Now I understand what you're saying about stabilization, right? But if we look at this here, we could go pretty soon here.
Yeah.
In fact, your diva seems like ready to go. Now she needs not be doing this. She needs to be waiting for you to actually pull the trigger here, because you are the most important person when it comes to cycles, right? If you're not doing anything, your team should be doing nothing. But you need to go. I would say, all right, guys, we're good enough. We need to go.
Right.
We need to go right now. I mean, honestly, here you could even dive monkey. I wouldn't recommend it, but it could work. But it's better than being indecisive and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. Because you're right, you're trying to stabilize, but unfortunately you're in a position right now where as long as that pharmacy is able to play this aggressive without getting pressure on her backline, you're really never going to be full HP all the way.
Right. Also, Far wants the fight to be slower. The more time the Far gets, the more value she gets.
And it's not just about it being slower versus faster. Remember, I don't like that term. Is that Far able to do what she wants to do right now?
Yes.
Then you want this period of time to end. You could play slow all day long playing in here because the Far can't do what she wants. But if you're out here, you can't play slow out here. It's just like a Reaper composition. If the Reaper's on top of your backline, he doesn't mind playing slow. He's going to do a lot of damage the longer this fight goes up and close here, right? A Widow wants a fight to go slow here. A Reaper wants a fight to go slow here. This pharmacy has a perfect spam on you guys. She wants you to take it slow. Now, she'll take all day long to pummel you. But if you dive backline and now she's put in an awkward position, now she's in real trouble. So, like, are we going to go? Are we going to go? Zap Monkey a little bit. Force recall. Still getting pummeled. And then you go for the pharmacy. Now, is this ever a bad thing to do? I mean, or always a bad thing to do? Not really, right? I mean, you could definitely get, like, you definitely got some zaps in there, right? And if your D.Va boosters up there, then and your McCree hits a shot, then yeah, you're gonna kill her. So, but this is inconsistent. You kind of see what I'm saying? Like this shouldn't really work. And if this pharmacy is smart, where should she be playing?
Around the tower.
Yeah, she should be hugging the tower here, in which case it's almost impossible for this to ever work. So the fact that this is even looking halfway killable is because she's an idiot, and not because you're doing the right thing.
Right. I'm actually killed her.
And you do kill her. So, like, I guess congratulations, but you know, that's like beating up an infant. You know, like it's not exactly something to be proud of. And like we said, because they're playing pharmacy, that does mean that you have a free option to just go and pressure here, and that's a lot of space for your team. And what's likely to happen is while you're doing that, your team will start going and trying to kill pharmacy. But that's because they'll be able to walk through the choke and booster at her without worrying about getting destroyed by Bionade, Sleep Dart, Ana healing, Zarya bubbles, etc. And you'd take care of that. So.
Right.
And again here, like, this is just a waste, right? Think about like, again, where is your pressure going to be the highest? I know you're up one here, but where's your pressure? Right on the top. And you can survive this. I'm not saying always jump backline. You know that as well as I do. Kree, Brig, on a backline, you can just insta-die if you don't have bubble. But they don't have bubble. Your team will want to focus Monkey, I agree, but they will want to focus Monkey while Monkey's not getting any healing and Monkey's not getting any bubbles because you've dove the backline. You see what I'm saying? Right. That's the best. Like, your job as Monkey is not just to do something, but to do what your hero is best at, and that right now is diving backline.
Right.
And again, what should you be doing every single time you go for a jump like that on backline? Every single time without exception. What should you be saying?
Let's push in.
Sure. Anything. I'd prefer a single word. Pressuring.
Right.
Diving. Going. Ready, go.
Yeah, jumping.
You know, and jumping, sure. But your team needs to know, because your team, while you're doing that, your team must at the same time burn their Monkey or try and jump backline with you. Like, your D.Va might come with you. You know what I'm saying? But you need to be at the same time. Same time.
I usually call it 3, 2, 1. That's.
I don't even think you can say 3, 2, 1. I think it takes too long. I think you can just say, guys, ready, go, and then just say go whenever you want to go. Because 3, 2, 1, maybe you see an opportunity to go even earlier at like 2. You say, oh, she just used nade. We need to go now, right? You know, like, don't wait. I think 3, 2, 1 is a little outdated. Just let your team know that you're about to go, and then go. And don't tie yourself down to counting slowly.
Right.
Excuse me for dropping in.
Your Tracer should be on cart here and should probably be fine on cart here.
Right.
And then your D.Va needs to be up here. So again, obviously, if it's ranked, I don't care. But because it's team play, you really need to sort out who's going to be on cart. And Tracer should be fine. Tracer can play around health packs. You can play around cart healing, and your D.Va can come help up here. Now, they are on Kree Brig now. So how does that change things for you?
I need to be more cautious about my jumps. And try to go for more off-angle jumps so I don't get easily flailed.
Yeah, exactly. And probably at some point, maybe swap to a Zarya, certainly for third point.
Yes.
Another thing as well is like you would like to make sure that you're engaging. So this is another thing too. If you're going to engage something that has high burst damage, you want your primal, right? You want your DPS to be able to follow up. You want nano. So you want something besides just your jump to guarantee that this dive is going to be successful, right?
Yes.
So like you said, more off-angle jumps, things like that, but also make sure that you're not just, you have a reason to go in, that you have like a nano or a primal or something like, right?
Only hard engage when you have an ult to support you. Upkeep.
Now, here's a question. So let's look at this a little slower. Your team makes a rotate. What should you be saying right now? The same thing that I wanted you to say the previous fight.
Well, I was looking for nano engagement, so probably just engage on their backline.
So you were looking for a nano engage here. But are you doing something right now?
No.
I mean, you kind of are.
Right.
You kind of are. And that's the thing, though, is like I'm encouraging you to say, like, I don't want you just to say, like, oh, I only call my dives. Well, maybe, but also you're going in, you're zapping people. This Zarya is about to turn around and start shooting. Like, your team needs to be doing something too. Right. Just say pressuring, going in, pushing here.
Right.
Something. Because like I'm scared that you're gonna turn this corner and start zapping, and you're on a brig, and Kree gonna be like backing off here, or like rotating, or maybe looking back at cart, like anything like that. Like something's happening here, and your team needs to know. Okay. Nice. Good. But good job for the most part. I think the only thing is that it looked like there was a lot of early pressure from you, and your team was just kind of sitting on their hands, you know, and that's no good. Right. Again, and ranked, and this is something that you can, and this is something that I hammer into like Masters, Winstons, and ranked as well, because in ranked it's less so about like you still communicate it if you're in voice and ranked, but you need to make sure that your team is set up to push. Like I would never do what you did just there. If you've got your backline like pushing up and like rotating upstairs, you'd have to wait, correct?
Right.
Or if your backline was just sitting on cart, you never, ever do something like that. Always make sure that they're in a position to follow up before you do something, whether it's diving or just simply W mouse wanting. You sound like you're about to say something.
No.
No? Okay. What do you want to do here? What do you think is the right plan here?
Here I actually wanted us to drop. We wanted to rotate high ground, but I feel like playing card there was the right choice.
Okay.
Because the card was relatively close to the end of the point.
So what's the problem then?
We're splitting.
You're splitting. Now you're not splitting in a good way either. It's not Diva off angle, Tracer split, you're holding on a flank. It's your backline split, which is no good. And now you guys are about to get steamrolled. If you guys want to give up high ground control, you know, sure, fine, that's fine. But everyone has to be on the same page here. So what can you, as again a team player, help with this? What can you do?
I'll dive the backline, drop the bubble, pressure their core from engaging on our backline, and help them rotate.
Sure. Okay. Are we gonna drop here? Okay, we do drop. Lovely. By the way, quick question: do you know how are we gonna win this fight? Did you guys have a plan here?
Here, we want Rally to push in, right?
Okay.
And yeah.
Are we pushing in?
No.
When should we push in? Where should we push in as well?
When they start to contest a point.
Okay. Uh-oh. So my problem with this With this plan, you guys have to actually be set up for it, and you probably should have gone a little earlier. Do you see how like your backline's just standing out exposed here? Do you see this?
Right.
That's how your McCree dies. That's how your McCree dies. Not just to monkey jump, not just because, oh, you failed the whip shots, because he's standing out in the open.
Right.
And if you're gonna go, well, he either needs to be playing back here, playing very passive, or or position all the way over here, or holding high ground early and then dropping later. Something has to happen. You can't stand out in the open. So, do you guys have like an IGL? Are you a shot caller within your team, or is it somebody else?
I'm usually the one who calls engagement.
Yeah, so I'm gonna hold you responsible to this. What could have happened better here? Again, you don't need to micro your backline's positioning here, but is there anything that you could have said or done to prevent this from happening?
I could have jumped in front of the Zarya and then encourage my team to push.
Sure.
Pressuring their core.
Sure.
So
if you see an opportunity to push, you could have said just go. Another thing I want you to do if you have time between fights is ask where your backline wants to go.
Right. We were actually working on that, trying to figure out backline caller who communicates where the backline wants to go, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's very, very important. You need your backline to actually communicate where they want to go, not just because it's important for your team, but it's also important for you, because that tells you where you can play. We just saw how previously when you're up here, your backline being up here allowed you guys to actually like push in here. Remember that?
Right.
But you had to actually know that they were there. In this situation right now, maybe you don't really know exactly where your backline is going to be or where they're going to hold. If some of your backline is going to stay up here, then you could have jumped this McCree, right?
Right.
If your backline's all going to drop, then you could have already jumped this right here, right?
Right.
With the rally. But right now, you're not really sure where your backline is. You're not really sure where your backline wants to go. And so the plan, which is rally engage, I mean, do we even know when that's going to happen or how it's going to happen? It feels awful.
Not really.
It feels really confusing. Like, I'm not even sure like where we're going or what we're engaging. Like, I'm looking at this here and I'm like, do we dive this? I don't know. Like, do we dive? I don't really know. You feel how confusing this is. So this is, again, team play. You can ask backline, where do you guys want to go? Where do you guys want to set up? And then make your decision around that.
Right now, our backline isn't really set up for anything.
No, you're not set up for anything. Exactly. And that's just it. There's no way you win this fight.
Right.
You had all the space in the world, and you still got you're indecisive and you got out-tempoed.
Take your medicine.
So what's the plan next fight?
Here we want to build nano and then nano engage.
Sounds good. So what should you be asking from what you've learned now? What should you be asking?
I want to ask our backline to go rotate high ground.
Right. Where do you guys want to go?
Top the chasm.
You really already should have been nanoing if this is what you're doing here.
Right. I'm pretty sure I called it nano, but
look at your nano charge. 96, still don't have it. 97, still don't have it. Now you have it, but it's kind of too late. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you need.
I already used my cooldown before.
Right. You're right. Exactly. Because if you've got nano here, you would not want to do. This is a feed. This is already a major error. Right.
Right.
Because if you had nano, you would want to do a little short jump, boom, right, and then bubble, right. Makes a lot more sense than what we're doing here.
So and they have to look back instead of just spamming.
Exactly. I mean, you know why that would be good. You don't need me to tell you why. Like you know it's good. You go inside, you get value out of your nano, but instead you're using your bubble here, your 12, 13 second, whatever the heck cooldown, and now you have nano, but now you don't have bubble, and so now what? Now what are we supposed to do? Right? I don't know. I don't know what you do. If you get like now, okay, so now you get nanoed, but now you can get instantly slapped. Now you're gonna get instantly bashed or bubbled or smashed or smacked around, right? Right. And really, you don't want to. Your backline doesn't really want to stay here because this is really scary for your backline, right? So you needed to hit early and fast with your nano and catch them off guard. Instead, you're just staying and staying and zapping and tickling and wasting more time. And then now your backline, look at your backline. Like, look at your backline. Look how low they are. Look at they got naded, right? Because they're sitting below there. Easy nades, right? You just drew this fight out way longer than it needed to be, and now you guys are gonna lose. And you're gonna waste primal too. Like, I understand why you primal there. This fight still feels winnable, but I would say it's probably not winnable. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So again, what needed to be done there? What was the mistake? What was the mistake that not your team made, but you made?
Using cooldown way too early before the fight happens.
Yep. If you had waited 2 seconds and sat, and I'm not even talking about standing here. I'm talking about like you take 2 seconds and just like peek this McCree just a little bit, tuck back in here, right?
Right.
Oh, we got a nano. Okay. You could even have gone like, all right, backline, I want you guys to push in this way. Anna, you're gonna nano me like here, and I'm just gonna jump up and over and pincer like this, and you guys are gonna push that way. You kind of see what I'm saying? Or you could have done nano me here while backline goes high ground and clears high ground and pincers the other direction. But the problem is that you guys just sat and waited and stood in front of their face, which, by the way, the Zarya is probably going to be better at that anyway. The Zarya is going to build up charge and burn you. They had a high ground, and you just waited. You used bubbled, and then by the time you nanoed, you had no cooldowns, your team was low, and it was too late.
Right.
If you're building an ultimate, don't take a fight. Just take a little bit of damage. Does that make sense? Okay. Run. Run. Like I would not even be matching here. You guys need to be running.
Right.
Yeah, you guys need to run. It's rally, right? It's not just the armor itself. It's the fact that they're going to be playing more aggressive with it, and that they're just not going to be punished with anything. We should not be staying here. We should literally just run back to your side. You literally should just go run, and you just it's like you ever seen Lord of the Rings?
Nope.
Oh, sad. Okay, but yeah, you just need to get out. Thankfully, they also use primal too. Maybe they use pulse. Ah,
no, they save for grapples.
I see.
I can already tell what happens in the next fight.
Yep. I mean, this is also where the difficulty of continuing to run D.Va is going to be hard. Now, D.Va is really good if you're playing on like high grounds and things like this, but right now what we're seeing is you guys just are kind of brute forcing it in over and over again in small, short ranges, right? And obviously, the Zarya is going to get more. She's going to do more there. It's not just the bubbles are more valuable, but she's also like if you have a D.Va and a Zarya standing, both getting healing, standing at like 5 feet away from each other with no high ground, no flanks, no nothing, the Zarya is going to win every single time.
So right click is just.
Oh yeah, it's brutal. Yeah, it's brutal. Grab's stronger in short ranges as well. So. Okay.
Go.
Nah. Oh dear. What's the win condition here?
Build rally.
Okay.
Might be a good idea.
Build rally maybe. Okay. Build rally, maybe try and force a solo grab or something like that. I don't know.
Pressure the Zarya so that she doesn't get a grab she wants.
Okay. What's the problem here? Do you see the problem?
Our backline is not grouped up, ready for rotation.
Right. So what are you doing?
Building nano. Just kidding.
Building nano. Exactly right. Exactly. It was all big brain, right?
Big brain.
Because I'm thinking, first I'm like mad. To be honest, I was kind of mad at your D.Va. I'm like, how are you taking this damage on a rotate? Like, come on, like what's going on with you? Then I'm like, oh yeah, your D.Va's back here. Never mind. What are you doing? Yeah. So this is no good. And like, you would kind of like to have Winston bubble if this is the rotate that you're going to make. Are you guys trying to go up top left? Is that what you guys are planning?
Yes.
Okay, so a little dangerous, but like sure, that's fine. But like, you would like Winston bubble here if you're going to do that, if possible. like look at your McCree and Brig both almost die because of the rotate, right? So not great. Okay, hey, you built your nano though. All right, let's go. Now I want to see this.
60 seconds.
Okay.
I feel like I jumped a little bit too short.
Yeah, you jump too short. You need to be in deeper here. If your team is your team able to pressure with you here?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, right. That's fine. It's not great, but it's fine. So yeah, absolutely. Another thing to think about as well is when you can, especially if you don't have a Zarya bubble, how can you change up your jump here?
Maybe I drop high ground and jump from low ground to high ground.
Yeah, you could like your team rotates up top and you just kind of like hide in here, right?
Right.
And then all right, 3, 2, 1, step out, jump like this. And then if you make the jump, you get nanoed, right? Ana will be able to see you. But do you see why that's a problem? Like why that might be attractive?
Because their brick won't be able to flail me.
Right.
She won't be able to see where I jump.
Right, exactly.
Basically.
This is her LOS right here. And then all of a sudden, ah,
Right.
you'll probably land it. It's also the off angle, right? You're able to more directly access backline. Backline's gonna be pressing S, backing away, and you're gonna be catching them on the rotate. So try an off angle jump whenever you can. You can't always do it, but especially if you've got a nano, right? That you know it's gonna like maybe that tracer shoots you a little bit as you're jumping. Where is that tracer?
I won't be able to die, basically.
Right. This tracer maybe jumps you a little bit, but you're not gonna die, and you're gonna get nanoed back up to full HP anyway. So yeah. Okay. And obviously, what should you be calling while you're doing this? I know it sounds stupid, and your team should easily be able to see this, but just always get.
I'm going in.
You're going in. Going in. Pressure. You could. I don't care what you say. You could say like nutmeg or jumping or like
right.
Like I don't know. Anything. Just say something. Right. Goodbye. Yeah. Unfortunate. Yeah, I don't know about that primal, but
What even happened?
you primaled and were annihilated. Yeah, that was unfortunate.
900 HP in one shot.
Keep in mind that McCree's high noon starts to increase exponentially like after 1.8 seconds. Like he charges the skulls way faster after like the first second and a half. So like it starts going like you die surprisingly fast at high noon.
Yeah, I remember that change.
Yeah, so. All right, so let's see what's going on. Building more nano, I assume. All right, so you have a Zarya bubble now. Again, what should you be called here? You need to know you need to rotate. I'm going in, bubbling, pressuring, right? Whatever. And also, do you know where your backline wants to go? I assume you guys planned this out.
Yes, because it's overtime fight, we need to get on a card. Right?
Okay, sure. Unfortunate. Just being more decisive with that call and knowing exactly what you're doing will help a lot. Okay. So obviously we could have nitpicked that and been like, well, you could have anticipated Nano Monkey and rallied faster, and maybe you. But I don't care. Like the thing is here's the thing. The goal is to try and fix the biggest problems, the easiest stuff to fix, the stuff that's going to help you the most, and then all the tiny little nitty gritty details. You know what? It's okay. Don't worry about it. And your team needs to be in the same mindset as well.
A big reason for my indecisiveness is because I used to like go in without my backline support and instantly feed. So I try to fix that, and it just becomes way too slow right now. That it's
you just need to think about like, okay, I can go in, but I need my backline to follow up. I need to make sure that they don't have a brig. I need to make sure that I have nano. I need to make sure that I have primal. I need to see if I can get on an off angle. I need to make sure that I'm communicating when I'm going in. So there's all these like little different things that will help you to not feed when you go in, and decide about whether you should be going in at all, right?
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't go in at the right time, right?
Right, exactly. It's like saying, oh, I never walk outside anymore because I always get hit by cars. Well, how about you go outside and look both ways? You know, how about you go outside and make sure that you don't run out in the middle of the street? Let's focus on the really, really big things, because sitting inside all day is really bad. Never, ever, ever like being scared of diving or just being indecisive is really bad too, because that's going to make you feel even more scared to dive, because you're just going to be taking so much damage before you even start to dive. Okay, so like let's look at our comp here. And where do you guys want to set up a fight? Where do you guys, what space? So like, remember, I always ask this with an attack and a defense. What space matters to your team? Where on the map? Where do you guys want to fight?
Back at the point.
You guys want to fight here?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to be putting a little bit of spam. So what are you doing here then? What's the goal?
Just zap.
Zap?
Basically.
Zap? Maybe
Put
build some
pressure
Zarya
as they
charge?
rotate. As
Okay,
they rotate.
so you don't, nobody hard commits. Everybody knows this, I assume, right?
Yes.
Okay,
We're not hard committing.
Good.
At the
all right. Okay. Okay, so you have to be careful here. Simply because obviously you can see here it's like they can off angle pressure you here, right? Now, this is where I'm a little, let me think about this for a second. It feels like your team doesn't really know where they want to set up. So you said the back of point, but where? Like your team is just meandering around.
Right.
Like look at your Ana. Where is she setting up? Like where are we going? Do you know?
I don't really think we are going anywhere. I think we're trying to play second and let them in first.
Okay. So why did you go here then?
I don't know. Again, for the pressure, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. it felt like you just absorbed a lot of damage and like got kind of spooked, right?
Right.
So I'm not saying that like, oh, you're feeding and this is a bad position to always be. I just think you need to be more like talk with your backline. You guys need to have some conversations about what they want to do and what you can do about that. Because it feels uncomfortable for me to watch. It feels really uncomfortable for me to watch.
Right.
Because I don't know what you're trying to do. Good.
Survival of the fittest.
Okay. I guess that works.
Body block.
Yeah, I think like when you're that low, I think this would have probably been the safer jump. Don't worry about off angling if you don't have bubble, right? So
Right.
You should have gone the other jump. And you're gonna lose potentially because of that. Yeah. That's really unfortunate. So again, like you need to actually get out safely, right? Instead of trying to get additional value greeting there. The big thing though is like your backline just has no idea what they're doing. Like like you guys were on defense and somehow you guys felt like you were even worse positions than the attackers, right? These guys had cover and corner, they were taking angle. You guys are just like, it was like looking like ants, like when you messed up an ant pile. They had no idea where they're going or what they were doing, and you were taking damage from this off angle. Like your tracer's sitting up here, marking a tracer that never even came. Like there's just so many things that your backline is doing or your team is doing that doesn't make any sense, and you're getting screwed because of it. So you need to talk with your team. Where are we going? Like if even if it means, you know what, we don't pressure this choke anymore. That's fine. Because you guys pressured this choke and then everything went to crap after that. There's no, like, what did you get? 5% ult charge, 20, 30%, 20, 30 Zarya charge? For what? To look like idiots on the backside of point? To not take high ground? To not have cover? To not be inside here? To not control this angle here? For you to just get destroyed? I mean, the only reason you guys even got any kills is because you slept the McCree. And they failed to peel it. So like, I do not like the way that your team is trying to do too much and doing everything poorly. Okay. So again, where does your backline want to go? What space and what space matters to you then? What space are you contesting?
Then the choke where they're trying to go through.
Sure. Where your high ground can be used, right? On this choke, right? Let them come out. Don't stuff them back here. But let them come out to where your team can shoot them, and then you will jump them. Okay. So far, so good, right?
And this is like 1 week out, right?
Well, what's happening again, though? Do you see? You see?
No.
Wait for it. You see it now?
I lost my armor
You lost your armor. Why did you lose your armor?
because I'm taking damage before the fight happens.
Why are you taking damage before the fight happens?
Not building nanocharge.
Oh yeah, right. But seriously, why are you taking damage here? Like, why did you peek this?
Well, my thought is probably scouting.
Scouting, okay. So scouting, okay. What are you scouting for?
For their backline's position.
For the backline's positions. So why? I'm gonna keep asking questions. We will get the answer. I promise you.
We're diving on them.
Okay. Do you see backline here?
No.
Okay. Do you see backline here?
Yes, I see the Kree.
Okay. Can you dive the McCree?
Yes.
From here?
Yes.
So why don't you dive then?
Well, communication, I guess.
Okay. So I mean, I to be honest with you, I think this dive in the Kree is a little far. I don't think like you should dive this, but if you wanted to dive this, you should dive this.
Right.
So instead, you just stand here. Instead, you either go or you say, "Oh, I can't dive that," and you tuck back in.
Right.
And what do? You stand here. And you stand here, and you stand here, and you stand here, and you stand here, and you look, and you stand here, and you stand here, and you stand here, and you stand here. And now you're gone. Right? It's no good. So what needs to happen?
And you communicate to my team so they can scout when the backline comes out.
Sure.
And I can dive.
Sure. Or if you want to scout and you see an opportunity to go, and you call it and go.
Right.
Or wait. The problem here isn't that you didn't dive. The problem here is that you didn't dive and you didn't do nothing. You did something in between. It's the exact same thing that happened with this right here. Remember that with the nano? Remember that?
Right.
You could have sat and hid and farmed nano, or you could have just gone in without nano and got nanoed like as the fight was going on.
Right.
Right? Instead, you're doing nothing. It's the same thing with this little thing here. Are we rotating or are we not? Or are we just going to stand?
I'm not even doing nothing. I'm taking damage.
Well, that's actually exactly. You're either hiding behind a wall or you're going in. There is no in between. And now you've lost positioning. You've let that McCree take space away from you. And now guess what? Now do you see what they've done at the same time?
They rotated.
They rotated, and your Ana, instead of looking for nade, probably had to nade you or heal you, right? So now this dive, maybe this dive works, right? But it's going to be a lot weaker than it should have been. And whose fault is that?
Mine.
You. Right. Get him. You guys should still be able to. Oh no. Unfortunate. I don't blame you for any of this at this point in time. We go next fight. And again, it's about big picture stuff there, right? Why would we analyze your primal micro or your primal mechanics? Why would we? There's no point.
There's no point.
The fight started off in the bad foot, right? It was already bad before the fight even started, so don't worry about it. All right, so we're gonna get high ground. Lovely. All right, what should be the fight plan here, do you think?
We're looking for graph pulse. Yes.
Sure. Cute. I like the jump. You take some space. You're not getting shot. That's the big thing that we've been struggling with. All right. Now, did you call this? Where's our backline in position to push?
Yes.
Yep. One little thing here, though, too. You just have a habit of doing this a little bit. Do you see what you're doing? Right here. Do you see that? See that?
Yes, I'm reloading.
You're reloading, but also look at your camera. See that?
Right.
See that right there? See how you peek repeatedly? You already knew they were there. You don't need to peek.
Right.
You don't need to. Just taking unnecessary damage, right? It's called telegraphing as well. Do you know what telegraphing means?
No, not really.
Telegraphing, it's like an American term, I think. It basically means that like you're sending them a message about what you're doing before it even happens.
Right.
So they say, oh, he's telegraphing. He's sending a message that he wants to dive this. Get ready, get ready. You can see it. You should be a surprise. It shouldn't be, hi, I am diving you. Get ready. And they could tell you that you're going to do that because you keep peeking and peeking and peeking, right? So don't telegraph. Hide your intent. Hide what you want to do. Get in a situation where I want you zapping this.
Right.
I get what you're doing. I think what you're doing is the right thing to do, splitting off that monkey. But why would you shoot the monkey when you could be shooting backline instead? You're already, that's more value, more pressure. You might not kill backline, but you'll force nade, you'll force, you know, armor pack, you'll force maybe a bubble, right? Maybe you get a kill with your tracer. Who knows? This is just a monkey and monkey tickle. Actually, this doesn't do anything, especially because he has primal. And then because your bubble breaks here, you're actually very, very, very vulnerable here, right? What could happen instantly here?
We could have rallied. I mean,
what could they have done to you?
They could slap me and I would die.
You would die instantly. Yeah.
Right.
Or bash you, or nade you, or flash you. You have no idea why.
Because I'm not even looking at them.
You're not even looking at them, right? That's why you look backline. It's not just because it's what you pressure the most, it's also because that's what scares you the most, right? So if you could get to backline safely here, okay, so you're safe here, great. Now turn your attention to backline and let your team deal with monkey, because that's what you will do more to kill monkey by distracting backline than you will actively directly zapping monkey. That's why sometimes target focus in dives isn't always great, because you have people shooting different things that they're good at, right? Like look at your tracer. Why aren't we shooting? Why is your tracer shooting backline? Why is she not shooting monkey?
Because that gets more pressure.
Right, exactly. She's better at doing this stuff usually, right? So there you go. Oh wow. Oh no. Is Wacky still in chat?
It was.
That's delightful. Oh my gosh. Unfortunate. And again, we don't care. Once again, we don't care too much about what happens after the first 15, 20, 25 seconds, right? Because it's all about the first initiation, the first cleanup, communicating it well, doing things properly, etc. Okay. All right. So what's playing this fight?
Nano.
Nano, okay. So what does that require from you then?
To go fast.
To jump in hard, to not telegraph, to not give away your intention. To do so, and to dive, to nano monkey dive where your team can actually shoot them, right?
Right.
Okay, so let's see what happens.
I hope so. If our backline doesn't get grabbed, you know, would have been good.
Yeah. I wonder why they get grabbed.
I wonder why.
I wonder why. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, no, this isn't it. You know, this isn't it. Like, even if they didn't have grab, you don't go inside. You wait for them to come out. We don't care if they sit in here and have have a birthday party. We don't care. They're not doing anything. They're not taking away space. What's the space that matters right now? What space matters on this map?
High ground.
High ground. If they're not doing high ground, if they're sitting in here and having a powwow and like smoking the peace pipe, or playing like pin the tail on the donkey, or playing I don't know any cultural games, but then fine. Then we don't care. It's when they're actively pushing cart or fighting us or taking high ground or taking a flank that we don't want them to take. That's when we fight. Instead, you're going inside here. We don't care what they do in here. We don't care. In fact, it's more likely for us to die pushing in here than it is for them to pushing in here. So this is no good. And I mean, you could see it right there. You literally just hand them a 3-man grab. And your tracer dies because she's not getting pocketed because her pocket is in grab. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Somehow you gale too. Like, I don't know how that happens. Okay, so this is actually still recontestable now. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant move. Now, I'm going to ask you the last question I really want to ask you before we like wrap this up.
Right.
Is it always bad to go inside here?
No.
No. So let's say you guys had a massive ult disadvantage. Let's say you guys only had pulse bomb. And you're like, we're going to lose this fight if we don't do something stupid. And you wanted to go inside to catch them off guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
How would you do that? Would you guys just run it in here?
No, I think we were high on the high ground before on the other side of the stairs. If you go down to the stairs.
Oh, like in here?
Yes. Well, no, forward.
In here?
Yes, right here.
Yep.
And hide over here. And when they come out, we hard engage on the back line.
Or, I mean, Padawi in chat has another good idea. Basically, it's surround them, right?
Right.
So you could do that. That's an excellent way to surround them. Another way would be like, oh no, they've already in here. Well, I'm going to dive in here. And guess what? My McCree, Brig, Ana are going to do this. Ready? 3, 2, 1. And drop flash fan biotic nade.
Right.
Right? And you just do something absolutely stupid, but you surround them and catch them off guard. And I promise you, I'm not even joking. If you guys had done this with Nano and had dropped in flash fan, you would have won this fight. I promise you. I promise you. There's just no way. Nobody suspect, but you have to surround them, and you can't stack up, right? And that's exactly what you guys do. I mean, look at this. Can you imagine like a flash fan here? It's over. Or a flash fan plus pulse bomb here? It's over. Like, it's over. So anyway, so the idea is that like if you're going to do something stupid and push through a choke and contest space, that doesn't matter. Do something creative or clever or tricky. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Done.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So you tell me, because we've gone over a lot of things. So you tell me what stands out to you the most. What needs to be prioritized for your monkey play and for your monkey team play? What do you think is important? The most important?
Making a clear decision to where you want to engage and when you want to engage. And like, yeah.
Sure. Exactly.
I think that one thing is just
I think so too. I think so too. And obviously, like, you know as well as anybody else, that's going to take a lot of time and a lot of practice to get that out. And I think especially when you're playing with your team 2 or 3 times a week, this is something that you can talk about with your team and practice in scrums. Because right now it's like you said, a lot of the mistakes that you're making are because you don't really know where you're going or when you're going, and you're getting spammed, you're getting poked, you're getting bubble forced, you're going too early, you're wasting your bubble, you're diving pharmacy instead of diving in Ana with no brig, things like that. That I think you're right. I think that all kind of ties in very similarly all to where and when you want to engage, what you want to engage. I think you fix that. I think you do fix everything else. The last thing I would add, and I know it's easy and you probably already do it 99% of the time, but I want to make it 100. Always call when you're pressured. Always know so that your team never has to guess about when they can start to pressure, when they can start to shoot the enemy tracer or shoot the enemy backline or rotate or whatever. Does that make sense?
right. Yes.
Okay. Do you have any other questions about this composition or your role or micro or matchups or anything like that at all?
I don't think they're important enough for it to matter as of right now.
Okay.
So.
And if you have, obviously you did get a tier 2, so when those questions do come up, just shoot me a message and we'll go over it.
No problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for jumping in voice. I appreciate it. That was always a lot of fun. So good luck, and I'll chat with you later, all right?
I'll kill you next time in deathmatch too.
Yeah. Fat chance. Fat chance.